Welcome to Literary Insights. Are you ready to unlock the hidden potential in your company's pricing strategy? Imagine transforming your approach to pricing and driving incredible profit growth. In today's episode, we delve into Danilo Zatta's insightful book, The 10 Rules of Highly Effective Pricing: How to Transform Your Price Management to Boost Profits. Discover the 10 key elements that can revolutionize your monetization strategies, from making pricing a CEO priority to avoiding price wars. With inspiring real-world case studies and clear, actionable advice, this book is a must-read for anyone looking to maximize profitability. Ready to take your pricing strategy to the next level? Let's dive in. Many companies put a lot of effort into R&D, production, marketing, etc., but don't put the same level of effort into pricing decisions. Pricing is often determined in an arbitrary way based on past practices rather than careful analysis. This short-sighted approach underestimates the importance and impact of pricing as a lever. Pricing has a direct and immediate relationship to profits but is not always seen that way. Pricing is the most powerful and immediate lever companies have. A small change in pricing/margins can significantly impact profits. This is illustrated with an example of a retailer with typical margins of 3%. A small pricing/margin change would have outsized effects on profits. In summary, the passage criticizes many companies for a lack of vision and short-sightedness when it comes to pricing decisions. Pricing is not given the strategic consideration and analysis it deserves, despite its large impact on company performance. The passage discusses the importance of effective pricing as a key lever for maximizing profits. It argues that pricing is the strongest and most immediate way for companies to impact their bottom line. However, most companies neglect pricing and do not treat it as a priority. There are several reasons for this pricing myopia, including a lack of experience, fragmented responsibility, and incentives focused on sales over margins. The passage then outlines 10 rules for highly effective pricing. These include making pricing a CEO priority, fostering a culture of profitability, understanding and communicating value, differentiating prices, avoiding price wars, managing price image, using pricing technologies, and setting clear governance. The overall message is that companies should transform pricing from a reactive, operational task to a strategic profit lever. Following these 10 rules can help internalize pricing's central role in capturing value and driving sustainable growth through increased revenues and margins. Treating pricing as a top priority is key to overcoming the common problem of pricing myopia. If you like the book, you can purchase it using the links in the description below. By buying through these links, you contribute to the channel without paying any extra, as we receive a small commission. This helps us bring more quality content to you. Pricing is one of the most important functions within a company and should be a top priority for CEOs and senior executives. Pricing is one of the strongest profit levers and allows companies to extract value from the market through appropriate pricing strategies. However, most companies do not have a dedicated pricing department or function. Pricing responsibilities are often spread across different teams and not managed strategically. Only about 20 to 22% of large companies have a dedicated pricing team. This means pricing is not approached in a systematic, structured way for most companies. Common myths and misconceptions about pricing prevent CEOs from prioritizing it. They often see it as a tactical rather than strategic issue. Lack of training in pricing strategies also contributes to it not being a top priority. Proper pricing requires strategic thinking and dedicated resources. Companies that make pricing a CEO priority and approach it strategically tend to achieve above-average profitability compared to their competitors. So in summary, the key point is that pricing should be a top strategic priority for CEOs and require dedicated resources/teams, but for most companies it is not yet approached in this optimal way. Price management courses are rarely taught extensively in universities, so many current executives have never received formal training on pricing strategies and best practices. Top management often overlooks or deprioritizes pricing, focusing instead on more tangible goals. But studies show companies with strong pricing oversight achieve 1 to 2% higher margins and 23% plus success rates on price increases. The CEO plays a key role in elevating pricing from an operational task to a strategic priority. They set the company's price positioning and culture around value creation. Wendelin Wiedeking, former Porsche CEO, exemplified prioritizing pricing. He insisted on involvement in major pricing decisions and defended value over volumes. This helped Porsche achieve sustained profitability. GE also realized neglecting pricing and introduced measures like a chief pricing officer role to increase focus. Improved price discipline boosted profits beyond expectations. However, too much focus on rigid pricing rules can backfire if it discourages sales teams from defending higher margins in negotiations. Careful alignment is needed. Here is a summary of the key points about the CEO's role in pricing. The CEO should assume a leadership role in price setting, being the first to raise prices when costs increase so competitors will follow. This provides stability in the industry. The CEO needs to avoid undermining prices through ad hoc discounts or visiting sales teams and granting concessions. This damages margins. It's better to send a gift instead of visits that lead to discounts. The CEO can send price signals through public statements to indicate if/when prices may change, listening to the market reaction. This influences competitors without illegal coordination. Signaling aims to stabilize prices rather than trigger price wars that hurt all companies. The CEO sets a strategic culture to avoid aggressive or warlike attitudes from triggering conflicts. Clear communication aims to influence without provoking misunderstandings that spark unwarranted competitive responses. Limited temporary discounts need context, or others may see it as a broader threat. Overall, the CEO takes a leadership role in rational price management for industry stability and profitability, rather than short-term discounts that damage margins over the long run. Etymologically, the concepts of purchase and sale are interconnected, as they both originated from terms that meant to give and to take. This reflects the fundamental idea that transactions involve an exchange. While purchase and sale are linked, they are different from trade, which historically referred to the exchange of goods/surplus, now called profit. Words related to business, like negotiate, and concepts like being pragmatic, originate from terms referring to not having leisure time and the need to engage in exchange activities. Strategy comes from the Greek word for leader of the army, emphasizing the need for leadership and preceding others in business. Profit or benefit comes from terms meaning an unexpected or surplus outcome of manager strategy and activities. Terms like money, salary, and pay also have historical origins related to coins, payments to soldiers, and satisfaction or settlement of obligations. The key message is that the origins of many economic and business terms demonstrate how concepts like exchange, trade, pricing, profit, strategy, and payment have been fundamental to commercial and transactional activities across cultures and eras. A deeper understanding of word origins conveys the interconnected nature of commercial concepts. The passage discusses the importance of instilling a culture of profit within a business in order to ensure long-term sustainability and growth. 3 guidelines are proposed for disseminating a culture of profit. 1. Do not spoil your customers by excessively indulging them through discounts and price reductions. 2. Tailor discounts appropriately rather than offering them indiscriminately. 3. Communicate clearly the value being provided to customers to justify prices and reduce need for discounts. 3 enablers are also suggested to help embed a culture of profit. 1. Incentivize sales teams based on profit margins as well as sales volumes. 2. Encourage sharing of pricing experiences across departments. 3. Closely monitor the relative value being provided versus prices charged. The key idea is that profits are essential for any business to survive, so the organization's culture needs to prioritize profit generation through disciplined pricing and limited use of discounts, while still providing good value to customers. Indulging customers too much through discounts can undermine profitability. Discounts can make sense to align prices with competitors, secure sales, and upsell additional higher-margin products. However, perceived value differs even for comparable products. A salesperson's expertise is understanding the value a product holds for a particular customer. An example is a kite seller who refused a discount request but was able to convey additional value through assistance and satisfaction of the customer's urgent need. In-kind discounts that provide extra products or services instead of price cuts are generally more profitable than direct price discounts. Discounts should also be limited in scope and avoid incurring losses. Communicating the real value of a product to both customers and sales staff is essential to sustain prices and avoid unnecessary discounts. Sources of value can include quality, design, brand reputation, service, and more. Examples like Apple, Johnnie Walker Whiskey, and luxury brands demonstrate how conveying different tiers of product value supports a range of prices and margins instead of relying on discounts for every sale. Clear value communication is key to price management and business profitability. The passage discusses how companies can incentivize their sales teams to sell higher value products with higher margins. It recommends incentivizing both sales volume and profit margins, not just volume. Salespeople should be rewarded for maintaining strong price discipline and offering smaller discounts while achieving good sales and profitability. Companies can implement commission structures that vary based on the size of discounts given, discouraging deep discounts. Sharing best practices around pricing, communicating value to customers, and monitoring competitors' value propositions can also help sales teams focus on selling higher-margin products. Overall, the goal is to change incentives and behaviors to prioritize profitability over just revenue. Teams should proactively collect and document information relevant to price management, including details on current products, plans for new products/services, prices, promotions, discounts, customer base, strategies, and reasons for winning/losing customers. This information will be useful for future pricing determinations. The goal is to encourage a profit culture where teams focus on generating earnings and profitable growth through effective price management. Culture is difficult to change, so companies should incentivize profit margins in addition to sales volumes. Teams should also share pricing experiences and monitor the relative value of products versus alternatives. Proactively understanding customer needs, analyzing competitors, quantifying product value, setting appropriate prices based on value, and clearly communicating value are important steps to take value-based pricing and successfully sell products through mutually beneficial exchanges. Value is subjective and dependent on context. It refers to the aesthetic, functional or quality-to-price ratio benefits of a product or service. There are 3 types of product attributes that influence customer value perception: hygiene factors, necessary for consideration; preference drivers, determine choice between options; and value drivers, motivate higher prices. Value drivers are the most important to understand as they justify premium pricing. They can be tangible like quality or intangible like brand reputation. To identify value drivers, interview customers about what attributes are most important and conduct in-depth process analysis. Competitive analysis is also important to understand value perception. Look at reference products, benchmark prices, competitor strategies, positioning, new offerings, and financial strength over time. Segmentation matters. Value is assessed differently in each customer segment. Price accordingly. Regular monitoring of competitors allows anticipating their moves to protect or enhance product value perception over time. The key idea is that value is subjective and dynamic based on context. Identifying specific product attributes that customers see as valuable drivers, through research, helps optimize pricing and positioning versus the competition within each relevant customer segment. To set competitive prices, companies analyze competitors' strategies, products, prices, and sources of value. This involves understanding competitors' direction, comparing product features, and determining value differentials. Companies collect competitor price data regularly from sources like online listings, distributors, market researchers, or mystery shopping. This captures price changes over time. The sources of a company's own value are identified and quantified by calculating how much each feature is worth to customers, either based on costs avoided or willingness to pay. Value can be quantified using metrics like additional revenue, cost savings, market share gains, etc. Customer research can provide inputs for these calculations. Value-based pricing sets prices based on the quantified value the product provides rather than just costs. The reference price of alternatives is used as a base and value driver amounts are added to determine the price. This allows companies to capture higher willingness to pay and justify premium prices through the benefits customers receive, as Apple does with the iPhone. Competitive impacts are also considered when setting value-based prices. To implement value-based pricing, companies need to understand customer needs, create value to meet those needs, identify and quantify the sources of value, analyze competitors, and quantify the value provided by their own product/service. Value is created by addressing customer needs through features that are hygiene factors, preference drivers, or value drivers. Value drivers can be tangible or intangible. Benefits. Competitor analysis is important to understand the reference product/next best alternative and how competitors quantify and capture value. Quantifying value involves separately analyzing each value driver using formulas or calculations. Typically only 5 to 6 key drivers are quantified. This requires data and market research. Once value drivers are quantified, the total value provided to customers is determined. This forms the basis for setting the price, along with considering the reference price and sharing value fairly with customers. Effective communication of value to sales teams and customers is key to selling value and prices based on value rather than just features or discounts. So in summary, it outlines the multi-step process of understanding, quantifying and communicating value to implement value-based pricing. Pricing a product the same for all customers is paradoxical, as the perceived value differs for each person based on factors like needs, interests, income, etc. Price discrimination, or differentiated pricing, is a common and beneficial practice when it accounts for different customer segments and ability to pay. It can increase access to products. Examples given are student, senior, and loyalty discounts, as well as revenue management in airlines and hotels. These give benefits to both customers and businesses. While the term discrimination has negative connotations, this type of pricing is based on subjective value rather than attributes like race or ethnicity. Differentiating prices hundreds of ways based on factors like booking time and refund policy, as airlines and hotels do, better matches prices to customer value perceptions than a single price. This maximizes revenue and access. In summary, the passage argues that differentiating prices for the same product based on customer characteristics is a pragmatic and equitable practice, contrary to the intuitive paradox. Examples show it increases benefits for all stakeholders. Coca-Cola tested varying vending machine prices based on temperature, reasoning that demand and willingness to pay increase on hot days. However, customers strongly protested since temperature is out of their control. Coca-Cola ended up shelving these plans. Price discrimination is acceptable as long as it seems fair and justified to customers. Factors like product type, location, income, and usage affect perceptions of fairness. Companies must analyze these factors before differentiating prices. Common ways companies differentiate prices include based on customer characteristics, age, business type, etc., time, seasons, sales, pre-orders, last minute, and usage levels/restrictions. Gender pricing, where women's versions cost more, is common but also controversial. While some argue it capitalizes on higher willingness to pay, others see it as unfair due to pre-existing inequalities. Temporal differentiation includes higher launch prices that lower over time, like new iPhones, premiums for express delivery/releases, and hardcover versus paperback book pricing. So in summary, the passage discusses factors affecting price fairness, examples of price discrimination, and how companies implement it based on customer, time and usage characteristics. Communication is important to gain acceptance. Companies can differentiate prices based on time, early buyers pay more, location, prices vary depending on where a product is sold, and bundles, grouping multiple products together at a discounted price. For time-based pricing, early buyers pay full price while late buyers get discounts. Tickets for events also increase in value as the event date approaches. Location-based pricing accounts for differences in demand and competition in different areas. Products typically cost more in central urban locations versus rural areas. Bundling allows companies to take advantage of customer spending tendencies by grouping desirable and less popular products. It benefits customers through convenience and lower overall costs. However, differentiation strategies can backfire if companies don't consider customer demand. For example, offering discounts when demand is low or bundling unwanted items. Location-based discounts also only work if the savings outweigh travel costs for customers. Companies must look at price elasticity and how customers respond to changes over time. Irrational customer behavior also influences what strategies will be effective. Bundling products can be an effective pricing strategy, but the bundle needs to be carefully designed to meet customer needs. Simply bundling too many unattractive products together will not work. The target customer segment needs to be clearly defined and different bundles should be offered to cater to different segments' preferences. Considering customer needs is important for bundling success. The pricing of the bundle also needs to be aligned with business objectives. A single price or building block pricing can be used, depending on factors like objectives, customer preferences, and legal aspects. Pricing the bundle at a 5 to 20% discount compared to individual prices can incentivize purchase. Additional services may also be offered instead of discounts. An organizational structure that supports bundling is needed to overcome internal resistance, such as dividing by customer segment. Careful controlling of the bundling process is required to ensure success, as many companies lack bundling skills. Correct management can increase profits by 10 to 40%. The differences in willingness to pay can lead to price differences of up to 40% between customers. These differences can be sustained over time as they are linked to each customer's unique willingness to pay. Temporal differentiation means charging higher prices early in a product's life cycle using a market skimming strategy. early adopters who want the newest product pay more than those willing to wait for price reductions. Location BA. Said differentiation sets different prices depending on where a purchase is made, such as online versus offline. Care must be taken not to create undesired price arbitrage opportunities. Bundle differentiation charges different prices for individual products versus bundles. Bundles can reduce demand heterogeneity and leverage customer spending patterns. Effective bundling satisfies needs, aligns package prices with objectives, supports the bundling process, and controls it. Quantity-based differentiation offers discounts for larger purchase volumes. Discounts come in the form of percentage discounts, loyalty rewards, free services, early payment incentives, wholesale prices, or trade-in credits. Incentive-based differentiation provides purchase incentives that require customer actions. Promotions, guarantees, vouchers, and loyalty programs help identify customer spending patterns to target offers better. Businesses like retailers, online stores, fuel stations, and airlines change prices frequently, sometimes multiple times per day. Managers are tempted to do the same with their prices in response to costs. However, raising prices simply to match costs is risky if demand is elastic. Customers expect some price increases during inflation but will cut back on purchases if prices rise too much. Demand elasticity must be carefully studied, as sustainable price increases are typically lower than cost increases. Customer reaction should be anticipated. Temporary cost increases may not require permanent price hikes, as customers remember higher prices negatively. Reputation is also important for products perceived as consistent in price. Competitive context matters. It's easier to raise prices if competitors do too. Loyal, trusting customers with few alternatives give more pricing power than price-sensitive customers with many options. Effective negotiations require clear objectives, target/minimum prices, timeframes, bargaining chips, and understanding different buyers involved. Price increases usually require communication of reasons and amounts to avoid backlash, especially for recurring payments. Justifications are needed or customers may protest publicly. A bank tried to increase prices without properly testing or communicating the changes to customers. This resulted in a major backlash from customers and advocacy groups. Even the mayor of the bank's headquarters urged them to change the proposed pricing. Effective price increase communications need to place the customer at the center. Companies should provide a motivation supported by data for the increase and involve customers in the decision-making process. United Airlines successfully increased membership prices by clearly communicating how the money would be reinvested to improve the customer experience. Their explanation was concise but credible. Salespeople need support when interacting with customers about price increases. Companies should establish pricing strategy goals, provide training and materials to salespeople, and incentivize promoting higher quality sales over just volume. There are several approaches to communicating price increases, like increasing value and prices together, increasing prices while providing less value through shrinkflation, applying new surcharges, increasing prices only for some customer segments, raising prices up to a threshold, or calibrating the pricing model. Involving and providing value to customers is important for gaining acceptance of price increases. Companies can effectively increase average prices and revenues over time by evaluating which parts of their products/services currently offered for free could be charged for in the future. This approach leverages the typically lower price elasticity of accessory/supplementary elements compared to the core product. Some examples of things companies currently offer for free but could charge for include baggage fees, hotel luggage storage fees, paper boarding passes versus digital, car rental cancellation fees, and credit card payment surcharges. It's important to initially list all free services clearly so customers are aware, to establish a price point of 0. Then it's easier later to replace the 0 with a price number for those services. This risks losing fewer customers since the core product price is unchanged, while directly charging those using extra services rather than subsidizing them. Other strategies for price increases include targeting segments with lower price elasticity like peak periods for hotels/airlines/holidays, increasing prices for smaller, less important customers, raising prices up to identifiable threshold levels like $1 or $20, and calibrating pricing models to benefit from expected increased usage over time, like printer/ink models. Clear communication of rationale and ensuring sales teams have tools/training to justify increases also helps implementations. Price wars occur when companies inadvertently retaliate to competitors lowering prices through additional price cuts, often out of short-term reactions rather than strategic planning. Contexts that make price wars more likely include industries with high price transparency, saturated markets with slow growth, recessionary pressures, minimal product differentiation, low switching costs for customers, and excess production capacity. The startup of a price war can be compared to the fluttering of a butterfly's wings that begins a storm. It often starts from tactical moves rather than long-term strategy. According to Sun Tzu's The Art of War, directly engaging in a war of attrition through price cuts is usually not the best approach. It is better to transform disadvantages into competitive advantages and change one's perspective to avoid direct confrontation when possible. Most companies caught in price wars end up as victims rather than winners due to reactive decisions instead of strategic planning for long-run success. Maintaining sales volumes is important to help reduce average costs during a price war. Here is a summary of key points from Section E. Companies often believe they are just responding rationally to competitors' aggressive pricing, but competitors feel the same way, making it hard to know who initiated a price war. Price wars have lasting, devastating impacts beyond just economic effects. They can shatter lives and communities. Once prices are lowered in a war, it is very difficult to return them to pre-war levels as customers expect the lower prices permanently. Gaining market share through price cuts is not easy as competitors will quickly respond, and customers attracted by low prices can switch easily. In a price war, everyone loses, profits decline for all players regardless of who wins more market share. The best approach is to avoid price wars altogether through internal actions like promoting value over volume/price, guiding responses to competitors, and communicating business strategies clearly. In some cases where a competitor threatens your core business, preventative strikes through price may be needed to signal the intent to vigorously defend position. But price wars should still generally be avoided due to long-term risks to customers, brand, and profits. If price responses are used defensively, they need to be targeted and swift to discourage further cuts while avoiding protracted conflicts. Opaque or misunderstood actions can escalate conflicts rapidly. Price collusion between competitors can lead to heavy fines from antitrust regulators, as evidenced by fines against Procter & Gamble and Unilever. Before engaging in a price war, it is important to carefully diagnose the situation, understand competitors' intentions and strengths, one's own capabilities, and customer reactions. Options for responding to a price war include selectively reducing prices only in impacted areas rather than a broad price cut, using a second brand to compete at a lower price point, new promotions, or alternative sales channels. Getting out of an existing price war involves cultural and incentive changes to prioritize value over price/volume, clear guidelines to avoid price retaliation, and communicating a strategic vision focused on benefits rather than discounts. Examples like the Ritz-Carlton in Malaysia show how focusing on quality and value-added services, rather than price, can be an effective response to competitive price reductions. Careful analysis of the specific competitive situation and creative, targeted responses are important to resolve or avoid damaging price wars. Price image is how customers perceive a brand or product's pricing. It is influenced by numerous factors like marketing, reputation, positioning, quality, and past pricing strategies. Cultivating a strong price image takes time and consistency. Brands need to align their messaging, marketing, and actual pricing to portray the image they want customers to have. Luxury brands tend to cultivate an image of exclusivity through high but fair pricing. Value brands focus on affordability while still delivering quality. Price changes can damage a brand's image if not handled carefully. Increases may seem greedy while decreases may seem desperate. It is best to frame changes strategically. Discounts and sales have their place, but overuse can undermine an upscale image. Targeted or limited promotions are better than constant across-the-board reductions. New technologies like dynamic pricing require even more care. Brands must balance profitability with maintaining their price image and trust with customers. Transparency is important. Overall consistency, quality, and clear communication of value are key to developing and preserving a brand's cultivated price image over time. Strategic pricing supports long-term brand strength. The passage discusses how a company can cultivate a favorable price image in the minds of customers through strategic pricing approaches. An effective price image conveys whether a company's offerings are more or less expensive than competitors. It sets expectations for the range customers will consider. Factors like prices, price differences, communication, and brand identity collectively shape consumers' perceptions of a company's price level. The passage outlines different pricing tactics companies use, both transparent ones like Southwest Airlines' no hidden fees philosophy, and less transparent ones like surcharges or packaging downsizing. It argues companies should seek creative ways for customers to provide value in exchange for products/services, rather than obscuring true prices. One approach is setting a higher price for some products/services to make the brand seem more appealing and premium. This sparks curiosity and justifications for the higher costs. So in summary, the passage discusses how a strategic price image benefits companies by influencing customer expectations and perceptions within their pricing range. Both transparent and less transparent tactics are analyzed. By pricing a product higher than expected in a price-competitive market, a manufacturer can differentiate itself and shift the customer's focus from price to the product's attributes and value. Some companies like Apple, Smeg, Trumpf and SKF successfully apply a premium price that is 30 to 80% higher than competitors to attract attention to their product features and quality. When the price increase falls within this 30 to 80% range, it prompts customers to investigate what justifies the higher cost. But too high a price, like 200% more, does not generate more interest. Uniform pricing, like the 99 cents per song on iTunes or 50 Swiss francs for all Swatch watches, takes the focus off price comparisons and redirects it towards the variety of product choices and what they represent to customers. This strategy helped make Swatch and Apple industry leaders in their respective fields. Customers would have expected to pay less for CKS. It's unclear what CKS refers to based on the provided context. History proves Steve Jobs right that uniform pricing was one of the success factors for Apple Music. With one consistent price, customers focused on the value of the vast music selection rather than searching for the lowest price. Many perceived Apple Music's proposed pricing as fair, further motivating them to use the service. In markets where customers don't see much difference in value between products, price becomes the primary factor. Differentiating prices too much can be counterproductive as it draws attention to price alone. By standardizing the price, Apple provoked customers in a way that stimulated them to evaluate the full value and benefits of the offering rather than fixating only on cost. This helped guide their choice toward Apple Music. So in summary, a key point is that for the product/service referred to as CKS, customers likely would have expected to pay less, and Apple Music's uniform pricing approach helped shift focus to value over cost for that audience. The passage discusses the potential undesired technological impacts, UTI, of advanced pricing systems driven by artificial intelligence/algorithms. While dynamic pricing allows prices to adjust in real time based on many factors, leaving pricing solely to machines without human oversight can backfire. Examples are provided of ride-sharing companies Uber and Lyft significantly surging prices during terrorist attacks and other emergencies due to their dynamic pricing algorithms. This led to customer outrage and criticism that the companies responded too slowly to deactivate surge pricing during crisis situations. Both companies have pledged to turn off dynamic pricing in emergencies going forward, but issues have continued. The risk of UTIs from overly automated dynamic pricing systems exists across many industries that employ such technologies, including logistics, travel, hospitality, retail, insurance, energy and more. Careful human oversight is important to avoid societal harms from pricing algorithms running without safeguards in extreme scenarios. The passage calls for a balanced approach between technological benefits and potential downsides. The article discusses the challenges of using pricing algorithms and the importance of directing algorithms in a way that considers customers and fosters loyalty. It analyzes examples where algorithms led to unexpected high prices that customers found unfair, like a $14,500 cabinet and a $24 million book. It proposes finding a balance between profits, technology use, and customers feeling they pay a fair price. Algorithms need oversight to apply a pricing strategy customers accept. 2 case studies are discussed. IKEA rewards customers for longer travel times to visit stores using an algorithm, making the dynamic pricing clear and incentivizing. Root Insurance bases rates entirely on an algorithm that monitors safe driving, making pricing transparent and on individual performance. The key lessons are to make customers understand algorithm benefits, ensure prices feel fair, avoid causing pain of paying, and focus on value rather than just price fluctuations. Transparency, incentives rather than penalties, and customization based on individual behavior are highlighted. Here are the key points from the summary. Implementing new pricing technologies requires a structured process of analysis, defining business needs, articulating requirements, evaluating options, pilot testing, ongoing monitoring and adaptation. Be cautious of relying entirely on algorithms to maximize profits. Customers must understand the benefits of algorithm-based pricing. Examples show how to incentivize purchases: IKEA based on drive time, create transparency, root bases insurance on driving behavior, calibrate algorithms with human oversight, Lyft intervene during surges, increase customer satisfaction, Disney redistributed demand, and manage loyalty programs. Delta and United communicate changes clearly. The successful companies make the logic of the pricing algorithms clear, predictable and focused on customer benefits rather than penalties. They also monitor the algorithms and are prepared to intervene if needed. So in summary, the key is adopting pricing technologies through a careful process, focusing on transparency and customer value, and maintaining human oversight to calibrate the systems over time based on business needs and customer impacts. Organizational structure for pricing governance is important to support pricing strategy effectively. There are three main models: centralized, regional, and hybrid. Centralized pricing has decisions made at headquarters, suitable for consistent global brand positioning. Regional pricing decentralizes to business units/countries, allowing adaptation to local markets. A hybrid model balances centralized control with regional flexibility. Pricing decisions are shared between central and regional teams. Key elements of effective pricing governance include positioning the pricing function, defining roles and responsibilities, establishing pricing processes, and using incentives to align stakeholders with strategy. Managing dynamic pricing tools, AI techniques, and sustainability factors requires pricing governance to evolve. Structure should support strategy and ability to monetize value creation. The passage discusses organizational structures for pricing functions, including centralized, decentralized, and semi-centralized structures. In a centralized structure, the central pricing team makes all pricing decisions. In decentralized, local/regional teams make pricing decisions. Semi-centralized is a hybrid where the central team provides guidance but local teams have flexibility. It also addresses where to place the pricing function, typically in marketing, or sometimes as its own department for complex industries. Placing it in sales is discouraged due to conflicts of interest. Three typical roles in pricing management are discussed: pricing director who oversees strategy, a pricing manager who handles tactical and operational work, and pricing analysts who provide operational support with analysis. Key points covered include determining the optimal structure based on a company's needs, defining roles and responsibilities, and ensuring pricing teams have adequate resources and training to be effective. Pricing governance involves establishing a framework for managing pricing through rules, processes, organizational structure, roles, and incentivization. Organizational structure can be centralized, decentralized, or semi-centralized. Centralized puts pricing strategies under headquarters to standardize tools. Decentralized gives autonomy to business units/countries. Semi-centralized balances standardization and local needs. Key roles include Chief Pricing Officer to oversee pricing discipline and report to division heads. Quantitative and qualitative skills are both important for these roles. Pricing processes govern pricing decision-making and activities. They define price decisions, negotiation, revenue models, price exceptions, and ability to update frequently. Incentivization of sales forces should align with sales strategy, establish measurable parameters, clearly communicate the system, and regularly monitor results to motivate achieving objectives profitably. The passage debunks 7 common myths around pricing that inhibit profitability for many companies. The first myth discussed is the idea that there is a positive correlation between market share and profit. The passage argues that aiming solely for higher market share often leads companies to drive prices down through discounts, reducing profits even as volumes increase. Market share becomes a symbol of power rather than a focus on customer value and satisfaction. Historical examples from the auto industry are given to illustrate how an obsession with market share dominance at the expense of profits ultimately damaged companies like GM. The key is for companies to control their own pricing strategy rather than be distracted or driven by competitors. Pursuing profitability independently of chasing market share is presented as a smarter business approach according to the passage. GM collapsed in 2008 due to a flawed pricing strategy of selling cars at or below cost to boost sales volumes, focusing excessively on market share over profitability. In contrast, Porsche prioritized keeping prices high and limiting production to protect used car values when demand fell, allowing it to withstand the 2008 crisis better than GM. The myth of a strong positive correlation between market share and profits, promoted by studies in the 1970s, led many companies like GM to obsess over market share to their detriment. In reality, pricing power from product differentiation and customer value is more important for profits than market share. Companies like Apple that focus on creating exciting products for customers, rather than targeting a specific market share, are better able to maintain prices and profits. Some key points are that market share only correlates with profits when a company has pricing power from differentiated products satisfying customer needs, commoditized products sold mainly on price are unsustainable, and innovation is needed to escape commoditization and establish pricing power. Cement appears to be a commodity good, but it can be differentiated and commanded higher prices based on delivery conditions like time, location, or temperature control requirements. Prices could triple from a base year 500/ton up to year 1,200/ton for challenging deliveries. Market leaders believe any product can be differentiated, even commodities. Fuel is commonly seen as an undifferentiated commodity, but brands have introduced premium fuels like Shell's V-Power to command higher prices through perceptions of performance benefits, even if tests show no real advantage. Small variations in price, like a 1% increase, can significantly improve profits through higher revenues. Even minor changes to discounts, like incrementing by 3% rather than 5%, make a meaningful difference. Perceptions of value are important for pricing. Dynamic pricing is a tool that combines human and artificial intelligence. The human brain establishes the rules and evaluates results, while AI handles calculations based on changing market conditions. It is not a black box if the pricing criteria and parameters are clear and understandable to managers. Dynamic pricing involves both automation through algorithms and human input in the planning process. It leverages both computational power and human judgment. Dynamic pricing works well for both B2C and B2B contexts. A case study is described of a B2B parts company that increased its EBIT margin by 180 basis points through dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing does not require perfect data to implement. Companies can start with limited use cases and datasets, and the process improves data collection over time. It is a myth that dynamic pricing is too complex and takes a long time. A case is described of a distributor that moved to dynamic pricing in under 8 months with significant profit increases. Successful companies start with a single use case and gradually expand dynamic pricing, combining human and technical aspects to arrive at customized, timely prices. Overall, it is presented as a useful and effective pricing strategy when implemented properly. Companies often think customers are primarily concerned with low prices, but the reality is more complex. While customers may say price is very important, studies show they have limited awareness of actual prices and often underestimate or overestimate by a significant margin. Customers also have difficulty recalling prices of items they buy frequently. Their behavior suggests they are not as price sensitive as they claim. Managing prices does not always mean directly raising or lowering them. You can increase perceived value without changing prices, such as by providing more information on product benefits. The forklift truck company increased sales and profits not by adjusting prices but by educating salespeople to better communicate the tangible value of their products to customers. Not all customers strictly pursue the lowest prices. Companies need to segment customers and customize their offerings based on different customer requirements, not assume a one-size-fits-all low-price orientation. The key points are that customer price sensitivity is often overestimated, perceived value matters more than actual costs, and non-price factors like education and communication can effectively manage prices without direct adjustments. Here are the key rules for preparing a pricing transformation according to the summary. Understand that transformation and evolution is natural and necessary. Failing to transform risks becoming stuck. Segment the market and customize sales policies for each segment. Consider factors like quality, price, after-sales care, etc. Quantify and communicate the total value a product provides to business customers in terms of tangible benefits like cost reductions and intangible benefits like brand reputation and support. Differentiate products and services based on elements beyond just the product itself, like after-sales services, warranties, payment terms, etc. Very few products are true commodities. Small pricing variations can have a substantial cumulative impact on profits. Stick to listed prices and keep discounts to a minimum. Dynamic pricing is applicable to both B2B and B2C and provides benefits when implemented based on predefined human intelligent rules rather than a black box. Value, not just cost, should determine price. Consider external market factors like what customers are willing to pay. Price management means quantifying and communicating customer value, not just raising or lowering prices. Price is justified by the associated value. While some customers consider low price a deal maker, others care more about quality, availability, and other factors beyond just price. Continuously transform and evolve pricing approaches to adapt to new situations and market requirements over time. The passage discusses key factors for successfully implementing a pricing transformation at a company. It argues that having a clear plan tailored to the specific company is crucial. This plan should set objectives and milestones for improving pricing maturity. It also emphasizes the importance of appointing a strong leader to champion the transformation. This leader should have both commercial and pricing experience within the company to gain credibility. Top executives must fully support this leader. A team involving representatives from different functions like marketing, sales, IT, etc. should also be assembled to provide support and buy-in across the organization. Regular communication is needed to promote and monitor progress of the transformation. Resistance to change is normal and should be addressed by persuading dissenting voices through evidence and debate. The benefits demonstrated by case studies of other successful transformations can help make the case. Overall, a customized plan, strong leadership, cross-functional team support, ongoing communication, and addressing resistance are key factors discussed for enabling a pricing transformation initiative to succeed. Transformation is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires sustained support and attention over the long term. Pushing too fast can be counterproductive. Metrics and indicators are needed to monitor progress and provide transparency on goals. Metrics can be qualitative, value orientation, or quantitative, average price increases. Benefits of transformation may not be realized in a single year but over multiple years as habits and mindsets change. It teaches medium to long-term decision-making. Difficulties will arise and skeptics will focus on any early problems. Potential barriers and risks need to be identified and addressed proactively to overcome obstacles. Successes, even small quick wins, should be shared and celebrated. This builds support for the initiative and serves as a catalyst to carry the transformation forward. Pilot projects can generate early evidence of benefits to gain buy-in. In summary, a phased, gradual approach is recommended, starting with a pilot project to demonstrate value, then sharing results to gain support for a full company-wide transformation as a long-term, continuous process. The book promotes 10 rules for companies to transform how they manage prices and monetize value, in order to unlock profitable growth. Conducting some preliminary questions helps assess the current pricing maturity and define transformation priorities. The farther from a full score, the greater the potential opportunities. 5 success factors are highlighted for a successful pricing transformation: having a clear plan, appointing a champion/team, taking a long-term approach, preparing for challenges, and sharing successes. Real-world examples from different industries are used to illustrate applying the 10 principles. The goal is for companies to establish a systematic approach rooted in their culture and processes to better capture value and achieve above-average profits. However, the principles are not obvious or logical for many companies, as most have reduced margins. Significant effort is required to implement the transformation. Individual company timing and approaches will vary, but following the 10 rules aims to facilitate a harmonious transformation to elevate pricing maturity and profits over the long run. Feedback is welcomed on how companies apply the rules in practice to continue sharing lessons learned.